How's everyone doing? Good? Let me ask you a question. Why do you use Lean or why do you use Agile in your business, in your company? What is the purpose of it? Hmm? Fun. What else? To adapt fast, right? You should do things fast, to move faster than if you wouldn't be using it. But sometimes we rely so much on the system and we think there's no other way to improve unless we improve the system. I'm going to be talking about how you can improve the work ethics of your work ethics and the work ethics of the people in your team so everyone produce faster. Let me give you an example of that with something that happened last month. Like during the Easter season, my brother-in-law came over to visit my wife and I. And when he was leaving, he said, "Oh, it's 9:45. I need to really go fast now. I need to leave because at 12 I need to be in Berlin for an appointment." And then at 12 he called me and said like, "Oh, I got here on time." The problem is I live 3.5 hours from Berlin. I live 3.5 hours with me driving. Because in Germany you have the Autobahn, which you can drive as fast as you want. And I normally drive about 130 when I'm with my daughter, and when I'm by myself, 170 or so. I drive a minivan. My brother-in-law is a professional driver, and he drives a BMW top-of-the-line 6-liter engine. So while I go maximum at 170, he goes at 250, 270. Now my question is, if I get his car, will I be able to do it in 2 hours as well? Because when I'm at 170, I'm already like all tense, paying attention and everything. I cannot go further. So it's not about the structure I have, which is the car, but it's also about my skills, who I am as a driver. And the same thing is in Lean, in Agile, in whatever you're doing. You can work very well, work long hours, hard, etc. But if you're not working at your max, you're still wasting time. You're still delaying things. You can have the best system in the world, but you're still not going as fast as you can go. And I remember that when I first started, got into the Lean startup mindset, I read the book like most of you, and what happened was I was like, wow. I had about 7 businesses by that time, and because every time my business would hit a bottleneck, I would start a new one, and I would start a new one. And I have a business partner waiting for something, then I start a new one. So I had all those 7 businesses, and they started working together when I started putting on the Lean principles. And what happened was I was working 150 hours a week. And I'm not joking. I was sleeping 3 days a week for 3 hours. I was working 9 hours a week. I was going crazy. But the thing is, after a while, I could see which business worked, which one no, I could kick off them, and I had only one that was successful. So I was feeling very, very, very good. Problem is, there will be weeks where I get a lot of things done, and you might have experienced that. There were weeks you get, like you don't believe in how much productive you and your team was. But then the next 2, 3, 4 weeks, what happens? Like nothing is get done. And it's nothing to do with the system. You still have the same productivity tools. You still have following the same principles. But it's about how you and your team is behaving. How hard you guys are working, not in terms of long hours, but intensity. And if you want to summarize this talk in one thing, is this. This one's single. Be all in. Play full on. Most of the times we're not working as hard as you want. Let's do an exercise here right now. Raise your hand as high as you can. Put your hand as high as you can. Okay. Look at him, look at him. Let's give him a hand. That's the difference. Because everyone was doing, and you're stretching your arm as much as you could. But it says he was like, I need to put as high as I can. What do? I climb on the chair. Same amount of time. He put it a lot higher. And if I would ask you, oh, put your hand 40 centimeters higher, you would stand up and you'll be able to. And the same thing happens when we are working. We think we're working hard, we think we're stretching ourselves, but we are not. And if you want your team to be more productive, to get more things done, together with good systems, you need to install this. You need to install in everyone in your team, like, how can we play at 100%? How can we, like, you know what? I don't mind if you don't work extra hours. I don't mind even if you work 8 hours. It's better if you work 6 hours, focus, at your max, than working 12 hours. Like, I remember when I was doing the marketing on my business, and I was doing a lot of guerrilla marketing because I didn't have money at the time. And I had a list with over 300 Facebook groups I was in with my target audience. So I was going to market, and I was like, control and clicking in 10 links at a time and pasting everything. And it was a tedious job. But there will be times it will be 45 minutes to an hour, I will complete. Other times like 3, 4, 5 hours. Like, it's all about the intensity, because I can work like this, or I can work like this. So it's the same thing, the same work, you're going to put the same hours, but the intensity talks a lot. And one of the biggest killers of intensity that stop people from playing all in is stress. Like, we cannot talk about stress, talk about marriage. Who here is married? Okay, few people. Keep your hands up if you're married. Okay, I'm going to pick up a victim. You. You. Can you remove your wedding ring? But wait, you see how someone is stressed or let go in the relationship by the wedding ring. If they cannot take the wedding ring anymore, they got too fat. And you see that. But let me see your wedding ring right now. Can you take it off, please? How much did you pay for it? Huh? You don't remember? Don't remember, but you'd say like between 100 and 500? For more than 500? Less than 100? Euro. Less than 500. How long have you been married?
2 years.
3 years. So less than 500, 3 years. And the thing weighs maybe 10 grams. But when I show him there, he now cannot focus on the talk anymore. To be productive, what would be needed for him? He needed to get to me. He cannot pay attention. He's worrying about it. He's worried about it. And he's like, what my wife is going to think, right? Or what is the money I'm going to think? Well, she thinks that instead of coming to the conference, I went somewhere else. And he has all this stress that doesn't allow him to be productive, which is pay attention. When his ring is always here. You never felt that, but just the stress he had got like, what do I do? Thank you. What do I do? What is going to happen? Would I kill this guy or not? That's why, let's give David a big round of applause. And that's the same thing that happens with everyone in your team. Like, I'm not a big promoter of you have to be the best friend of everyone in your team, everyone that you're leading. But the truth is, if someone has some problem in their private life, it's going to affect how much they can do it, how hard they can work, because the focus are going to be always there. They're always going to be forgetting what is really important. It was like, can I focus here? Can I do it? They won't, because they're going to be thinking, oh no, what should I do? And like, ideally, there is private life, professional life. In reality, it's just life. So in reality, people are just, when they're stressed, they are not able to focus. If someone has stress in the work, their family life is going to be messed up. If there's stress in the family, the work life is going to be messed up. So I love the word coaching for Agile, because what it means is, like, you really help the other person, like, to perform the best at work, but you need to use whatever is at your resources. If you need to, you ask like, is there anything going on in your life that just like I see you a little bit out of focus now, you're not performing as much as you did in the past. Is there something going on? And you try to help. Because that's going to allow them to be able to focus and work a lot harder. Because their mind is not going to have this stress. And you don't need to do that alone. That's what teamwork is all about, actually. Teamwork is about you going there and getting everyone to be so close together that they are going to be helping. They're going to be thinking about how I can help. And I know some of you might think, if everyone in my team is very, very, like best friends, they're not going to get anything done, right? They're going to be talking all the time. But the truth is, if you install the mindset of playing all in, being all in, like, working hard, what's going to happen is when someone cannot figure out something, and what do I do, what should I do? Instead of reading something or going online trying to find in a forum or anything, they just ask the people besides them. And they won't be fearing, actually, oh, what if this guy overperformed me? Because they're going to have those bonds. And another thing I love about this picture is because it talks about sports. So sports, there's one thing that drives peak performance, that drives people to do their max, which is competition. And we are afraid of using that among team members. We are afraid of setting up competitions because we think, oh, that's going to be bad. But actually, competition drives productivity like crazy. Like, during the railroad expansion in the US, like, of course, steel was something that was really needed because trains and rails are made out of steel. So United States Steel Corporation, they were like working hard to increase the amount so they can still keep the leadership because they're like the Google of the railroad expansion. So one guy called Charles Schwab, he was responsible for going to all the factories and just seeing what is going wrong and how can I improve productivity. So he went to the worst performing factory in the country, and he checked everything. Systems, okay. Like resources, okay. Everything was okay, but he couldn't figure out why they were so behind all the others. So when he was leaving, he asked someone, hey, how many runs do you do today? Which pretty much is how many projects you move across the board. And the guy said, oh, 6. So he picked up a big piece of chalk and he drew a 6 on the floor. And my thing moved automatically. So he did a big 6 on the floor and he went away. That was in the morning. When the afternoon shift came, he asked, like, why is the 6 on the floor? And the morning shift said, oh, the boss came here and asked how many runs we did, and we said 6. Okay. Next morning, when the morning shift arrived, there was already a 7 there. The afternoon shift released the 6 and put a 7. All good. 2 weeks has passed by. Shaswa comes back to the company. And the first thing he sees is a big 12 on the floor. Big 12. It doubled the productivity in 2 weeks. I'm looking like a Japanese girl taking pictures now. But seriously, he doubled the productivity in 2 weeks without changing any systems, without changing any resources, without providing them with anything other than a competition. And it's very hard for me to talk about competition here right now because each team here is totally different. Each competition that you're going to set up, you got to be based exactly on what your team needs. Because we're going to make sure one thing is equal. You have to evaluate them on their effort. You got to set up a playing field that they're going to be competing on is on their effort. On how much they do, because if you put like how many projects you move across the board, what is going to happen? They're also going to do a lousy job and have a lot of bugs, or worse, like the people who have a lot of skills, they're going to be understimulated because they know that those beginners won't know that much. They won't be able to do that much, and the beginners are going to feel like, no, this guy is the master. He's always going to win. So you need to think about how can I set up everyone in the same playing field. Like with sales is the easiest because sales, they have the quota, which will be the hard competition. But what smart teams are doing now is like how many leads you generate, how many people you contacted. Because those are the metrics of sales that put everyone on the same playing field. So you got to think about it. On my team, what is actually the same playing field? And let's do this little competition here right now. Let's say this one is A, this one is B. Let's see who can make more noise and make the other people in the back actually hear in the other room. Let's say A. Noise, noise, noise. Easy for you guys. B. A. B. See, regardless of things, this is a little joke, but did you notice how much the volume was increasing every time it was switching? You're becoming louder and louder because you started like, yeah, whoa. But then you're like, I can do better than that. Whoa. Then you're like, whoa. and would increase because it's natural from us to like competition. It's natural for us to always be like, how can I do more? How can I produce more? How can I beat the other person? It's human nature. And when you understand this part of human nature, you set up in a way that people are going to be feeling engaged. Because if a person doesn't have any competition, they don't have any drive. Like, think about an athlete. If they're just by themselves and they're the top of the world, how can they thrive? Unless they have that self-competition mode where they're always improving their time, they're going to win one world championship and then stop. That's what happens with most athletes. Because they become simply the best. Then they relax, they slack off. If you pick up some underdog, they're going to be hustling. They're going to be working hard. And if you set up a competition that it actually facilitates this equality between the underdog and the top performer, what is going to happen is you're going to see a lot more results. Because the top performer is going to say, like, I am the leader. I'm going to do more. I'm the winner. And then there's the dog's like, I'm going to prove you wrong. I'm going to go and I'm going to hustle and I'm going to outperform you. So it's always about, like, how can I put them in equal grounds? And then after they're in equal grounds, they're done. And the last, since we are about to go to lunch right now, let me tell you a story that happened in the beginning of the year when I was speaking at another conference. And like, I always get there early because I always want to make sure that the organizers know what I'm doing and that I'm there and that I'm not going to flake or anything. So I got everything set up, and I had the whole day to wait. And it wasn't like here that has great talks and two streams only. There were like 5 or 6 breakouts with very small teams, very like targeted. So I was just waiting on the coffee break area with another speaker. And he was the chief operating officer in a company in Berlin. So I'm a motivational speaker, I'm a leadership speaker. So what happened was we were talking and we were seeing the event catering people, they were preparing the lunch break, which was very cool. They were like put this little box with 1 bottle of water, 1 bottle of orange juice, a sandwich, and a waffle, because it was in Belgium. And they were doing that, and we were looking, and we're like, that's very interesting. Because what happened was, they had the line of production, which was well, but they put too many people to do the work. They had like 15 people doing the work of 5. And incredibly enough, everyone was motivated. Everyone was like doing as fast as they could, preparing everything, and they were getting a lot of things done fast. That was incredible. And their motivation was stopped. I never saw people so excited to put water bottles in a box. But what happened? They miscalculated how much water bottles they needed. So they ran out of water bottles. At the same time that happened, everybody almost simultaneously pull up their phone and start doing something. The motivation dropped, people slacked off, and then the manager got nervous. She was like, no, I need to get this done. It's like a few minutes. So she got someone and was like, you, go there and pick up the water, which was the right thing to do. But then she's like, you know what? Since you're going there already, can you pick up this trash and throw the trash as well? So there are 14 people waiting, one guy picking up the water and throwing the trash out, which would take more 1 minute or two. When you're talking about, like, you have 5 minutes left, that's a lot. And what is the point of the story, actually? The point is, there are going to be times that you're going to lack resources. Like, if you want people to perform, you should always give them resources as much as they can, as much as you can give to them as much as they want. But there are going to be moments where something's got to be needed. And then you got to wait. And when this happens, we normally get nervous. And what do? Take the rash decision. And then we get someone to do 300 jobs while everyone else is waiting. So when all hell breaks loose, when you actually need to get something done, but like another fire popped up, step back. Step back and relax, because 5 more minutes is not going to destroy what you're doing. But 5 minutes for taking a right decision might lead you to a lot faster way. So it's the old adage of, I got to slow down to speed up. And that's going to do it. And no one earns a black belt by mastering a killer punch. Like, make sure that when people are actually, you're working, you're giving jobs to people, make sure you give them in the exact amount of skill set that they have. Okay, you pull out from the backlog, and now you need to do something. Like, people are going to pick up the projects. Make sure you pick up from the backlog already something that matches the skill set of the people. Of course, there are priorities and everything, but what is needed? What is actually what matches your skill set? What's matches your skill set? I'm going to give in that order, not just, you know what, those are the things. Get done. Because more than anything, you are a leader. And it's your job as a leader to know each person in your group and give them everything that they need to perform at their best. Thank you.